I'm Zach, and this is your foundation for lifelong health and fitness. We'll go through a wide variety of information and stages, regardless of where you are on your health and fitness journey. These foundations include lifelong changes, achievable goals, diet, health, and movement and training. The foundation for lifelong health and fitness is long-term consistency and slow gradual change throughout the rest of your life. The best exercise is the exercise you love doing and the exercise you're able to continue doing as you enjoy doing it most. And while strength and cardio training is really important, it doesn't matter if you don't have the motivation to do it enough over the long term. If there's anything to take away from this video, is find the exercise and movement you love doing and enjoy doing most. With that being said, the biggest mistake I often see with people is jumping headfirst into completely trying to change their life all at once. And they then often become discouraged and they return to their previous lifestyle afterwards. Instead, I find the slow substitution method a lot more enjoyable for people and easy to wrap their head around changing their lifestyle. By slowly changing one habit over a long period of time, we can apply this strategy to a wide variety of areas in health and fitness. For example, if my goal is staying hydrated, I can focus solely on drinking enough water throughout the day to stay hydrated. And once that's become common for me and easy for me to do, I can then change my next goal into increasing my step count throughout the day. The minor downside to this approach is that it can take slightly longer. But as our health is a lifetime goal, taking a little bit of extra time to really ensure our habit and ensure that it's part of our daily routine is worth it over the long term. When looking to create new lifestyle habits, there are 4 questions you should ask yourself about your goals. What are your goals? How will you change once you've achieved your goals? And how will that make you feel? What obstacles might get in the way of you achieving your goal? And how will you overcome those obstacles when they do arise? Once you've answered these questions and know your goals, motivation, obstacles, and how to overcome them, we can begin to put them into place. Diet's a really important part of all of our cultures, and it's expressed through our love of food, taste, social experiences, or a late night pick-me-up. I'll be referring to diet as what we eat in our day-to-day lives, rather than the more commonly used term referring to fad diets. Our body's weight is primarily dependent on our diet and how many kilojoules or calories we eat within a day relative to how much we expend. From this, there are a few basic rules and ideas that we can implement to be happier and healthier, but also achieve our goals. These include, to lose weight, we need to consume less calories than we expend. And on the other side, to gain weight, we need to eat more calories than we expend. We want to consume a healthy balance of macronutrients, including our fats, proteins, and carbohydrates, to meet our body's complex needs, along with increasing satiation levels. Adding to this more specifically, increasing our protein intake can really increase our satiation levels, along with helping increase and maintain muscle mass. Eating and drinking in moderation is key. So demonizing particular food groups generally isn't helpful and creates a bad mindset with food. Most processed food and drink is a lot more likely to be higher in calories, so keep that in mind anytime you're buying either food or drink. I'd recommend drinking at least 2 liters of water a day, if possible. Carbs and fats aren't bad for you, it's all about consumption within moderation. No set diet is best, it's about finding what works for you and makes you happier and healthier. If you start weight training, you won't immediately blow up to the size of a bodybuilder. These things take time, and a little bit of muscle is great for definition and looking lean. Eating healthy doesn't mean you have to be miserable. You can make really delicious, filling, and affordable meals as well. Detoxing is not real. You don't need some special juicer diet. We have a digestive system and kidney for a reason. Identifying how many calories or kilojoules, or what or how much you're eating in a day, can be really valuable. If that's either through taking pictures, using a food diary, or using an app such as MyFitnessPal, it can be really useful to get a good idea of how much you're eating. Even if not used regularly, getting a gauge can be valuable for long-term success. Food labels are an incredible tool into understanding how much you're eating and what goes into your food. Restaurants will always have a way higher calorie count than what you may think. They want their food to taste as good as possible, so they'll use all the fats and sugars they can to ensure that. Figuring out your calorie needs can be really valuable. That's why if you use this formula, it can be really useful into figuring out how many calories or kilojoules you might need roughly throughout the day. With this information, we can begin to adjust what we eat and how much we're eating. By using the tools I discussed before, such as taking pictures, a food diary, or an app like MyFitnessPal, we can begin to get the tools to take control of our diet and what we're eating to achieve our goals and long-term success. Once you've used these tools for a while, we can begin to develop a food intuition, understanding how many calories our food has, along with how much we're able to eat in a day, goes a really long way into making it easier, happier, and healthier to achieve our goals over the long term with our diet. Supplements are highly individual, so if you do have any concerns or queries, I'd recommend seeing a general practitioner or medical professional. Any kind of supplementation isn't necessary. Especially when starting off, I'd recommend focusing on your diet and exercise. With that being said, creatine monohydrate and protein powder are your two gold standards for supplements. They are the most researched supplements and have the most evidence behind improving fitness performance along with increasing muscle mass. As well, the world's most consumed supplement, caffeine, is also available, but I'd say there's more personal preference depending on what you prefer. There's also pre-workout, which I personally wouldn't recommend, but if you find it works well for you, and if you've done research into what works for you and what you like from your pre-workout, there shouldn't be a problem there. Ultimately, we want to be able to live as happy and healthy for as long as we can to live life to the fullest. Consistency is most important, ensuring we make these goals a part of our lives forever. Proper health and exercise allow us to take control over our lives, to increase our life expectancy and quality of life. Health and exercise are the best magic anti-aging pill that we have. Health benefits of proper strength training and movement, increasing bone density, decreasing the likelihood of fractures, improved muscle strength and performance, improved flexibility and balance, reducing and preventing cognitive decline, improving our stamina and energy levels throughout the day, prevention or control over chronic diseases, pain management, improved posture, decreased risk of injury, improved self-confidence, improved sleep, helping you manage or lose weight, improved joint health and strength, improved mood through releasing endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin, reduces stress, boosting your memory, reduce symptoms of mental health issues, increasing muscle mass. And that was just the ones I could be bothered saying. Sleep is a massive part of our health and therefore a massive part of our health outcomes. It's recommended that adults get between 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So thankfully, there are a few strategies we can implement and put into place to help us get there, such as waking up at the end of a sleep cycle. A sleep cycle lasts 90 minutes, so if we're able to wake up after 7.5 or 9 hours of sleep, it should make us feel a bit more awake, a bit more alert, and ready to take on the day. Avoiding caffeinated beverages, especially later on in the day. Avoiding excessive amounts of liquid or food prior to sleep. And I'm trying to avoid those screens just before bed and having some unwinding time beforehand. Sleep is also when the body and mind do the majority of their recovery. So for our muscles, brain, and tissues with everything in between, be able to get a good quality sleep allows us to ensure the highest degree of recovery whenever we do both strength training, but also for the day-to-day activities. Movement and strength training are some of the keys to ensuring health and fitness through proper movement. Exercise at its foundation is movement. Ensuring we're applying correct technique allows us to correct movement dysfunction, which allows us to create a body that moves for us and our needs. By focusing on quality movement, we can create habits and movement that make us more capable than ever. Both mobility and flexibility are often overlooked, but by being able to focus in on them, we're able to get both a massive health and performance benefit. Through mobility training, we're able to improve our range of motion, improve muscular strength, improve joint health and movement, drastically reduce the likelihood of injury, and reduce fatigue and muscle tightness. The ability to move without restrictions, increase your strength, and reduce the likelihood of injury, especially when combined with exercise, is a great way to ensure your body can look and feel great, especially as you continue to age, given so many people in the current day experience pain and injuries. Reducing barriers to exercise and implementing motivation. The best way to exercise is to remove as many barriers to exercise as possible while increasing as many motivating factors as we can. Such factors can vary a lot from person to person, but very common factors or problems include time, cost, access, enjoyment, self-esteem, risk, awareness, your environment, and previously negative experiences at the gym. Again, it varies a lot from person to person, but common solutions include at-home gym equipment, making use of your local environment, such as parks and public gym equipment, researching and finding out information on safe options for exercise for your current situation that works well for you, picking activities and exercises that you enjoy most, introducing enjoyable interests with your exercise, such as music or pets. Reducing our barriers as much as possible and increasing our motivators as much as possible drastically increases the likelihood over the long term of achieving success with our long-term health and fitness goals. By having a friend or group that's interested in health and exercise, it's more likely to keep us held accountable, interested, and enjoy the exercise or health that we're partaking in. And this can be a great way to start building up that routine for health and exercise. This is why things such as sports or exercise communities are great. Be able to communicate and socialize with others while enjoying exercise and health. Gym, resistance training, and movement. If you have any health concerns, injuries, or are pregnant, I recommend talking again to either a general practitioner or a medical professional. Once you've figured out your goals, we can start training. Resistance training is for everyone, and everybody can get the massive health benefits that come with resistance training. Strength programming. Next, we need to pick exercises we'd like to complete. Each exercise's foundation consists of the same movements. These include our squat pattern, our hinge, our push, our pull, and the isometric. The exercises include our bodyweight squat for the squat pattern, our deadlift for the hinge, our push-up for the push, our seated row for the pull, and our plank for the isometric. By no means do we need all of those movements in the program, but it can be a good idea to understand what kind of movements we're doing and the exercises that accompany them. For the next stage, we need to figure out a couple more things. The amount of repetitions we're completing, the amount of sets we're completing, the amount of rest time we have between each exercise, and the tempo of each exercise. Repetitions simply refer to the amount of times we complete said exercise within a set. Sets refer to the number of groupings we complete within a workout. Tempo refers to the speed at which we complete the exercise. And rest refers to the amount of time we give ourselves between each exercise to recover. For each exercise, I'd recommend giving yourself between 8 to 15 repetitions, 3 to 4 sets, at a moderate speed, ensuring control over the weight and the exercise, with 1 to 2 minutes rest at the end of each exercise. Tempo is the speed at which you complete an exercise and is important for ensuring control. It's a valuable resource and tool in ensuring progressive overload when training. Tempo also adjusts our time under tension, the length of time and period that our muscle is under tension and stress. And that time under tension is really valuable in ensuring progressive overload and progress in the gym. As time continues and you progress in exercise and your experience, we can begin to play with the sets, reps, time under tension, tempo, and rest periods. For example, I'd recommend giving yourself more rest if you find that you're really fatigued after each set, need a bit more time to rest to ensure a much higher quality set next time around. We also have our range of motion, which is the depth and range that you're going to in each exercise. It can be really valuable in stimulating hypertrophy, improving our results in the gym and our strength, along with improving our mobility and flexibility. When training with the exercises, the main muscles you'll use include your quadriceps, your gluteus maximus, your hamstrings, your pecs, your trapezius, deltoids, lats, core muscles, biceps, triceps, and calves. Once you've started training regularly, I'd recommend on training each one of those muscle groups at least once a week. Cardiovascular training, a vigorous activity that increases heart rate, respiration, and raises oxygen and blood flow throughout the body, while using larger muscle groups of the body repetitively and rhythmically. There are a couple of different methods that are used for cardiovascular training. They include continuous training, such as long distance running, interval training, such as short distance sprints, and circuit training, which include a grouping of exercises, going for, let's just say, a minute, cycling on repetitively. Most methods of cardiovascular training fit within these methods, such as running, cycling, swimming, skipping, walking, hiking, and aerobic fitness classes. Depending on your needs, goals, what you enjoy, dictates the kind of cardiovascular training you should be doing. Rest is crucial as it allows our body to recover and improve after training. Without adequate rest, we're not able to recover appropriately. As a result, we won't be able to make the adaptations both physically and mentally to recover. Sleep, nutrition, rest, and water intake all come under recovery and are all crucial for different reasons. Recovery and rest days are key components for muscle building and future training sessions for both the muscles, brain, and central nervous system. The amount of recovery does depend on the individual and how much recovery and rest your body needs. Some people train 1 day on, 1 day off, while others train 6 days in a week with 1 day rest. It's really about finding what works best for you. I'd also recommend looking to consume a healthy balanced meal a couple of hours before training to ensure you have the fuel for training, but also the energy and recovery afterwards. Both high quality training and recovery are imperative for high quality muscle growth over the long term. Learning how to breathe for both daily life and exercise has profound effects both physically and psychologically. By controlling our breathing, we're able to both reduce stress and anxiety for stressful situations, but also day-to-day life. Greater breath control allows for improved emotional regulation, along with psychological well-being, allowing for improved focus and dedication to tasks. Additionally, greater breath control also allows for improved emotional regulation, psychological well-being, resulting in improved focus, clarity for performance. We're also able to regulate our arousal, reducing anxiety, improving performance. Breathing through stretching also allows for relaxation of the muscles, allowing us to get into a deeper, greater stretch, improving our flexibility and mobility. My favorite breathing strategy for day-to-day life is the 4 seconds in through the nose and 4 seconds out through the mouth. The first method here is the most generally applicable to weight training, and that is breathing in during the eccentric phase and breathing out during the concentric phase. This is good because it allows for a good speed of movement during the set and not wasting too much time on that breathing. The second method here is similar. I'm going to breathe in during the eccentric phase and hold during the concentric phase, maintaining that tension, providing good strength and stability for that lift. We'll breathe out once we've completed the repetition. For the third method here, we'll go a step further than that, where we will hold our breath during both the concentric and the eccentric phase. This is often used by powerlifters that really need that support, tension, and strength through that core to provide that strength and stability for their lifts. This method is really good for shorter durations, but I wouldn't recommend it for longer sets with high repetition numbers. Good core bracing supports our trunk and spine and allows us to move and lift safely under load. This applies for both daily life and strength training, whether it's taking the shopping in, moving furniture and cleaning, or doing our squat or deadlift. Core bracing allows us to be strong under load, keeping both our spine, trunk, and core safe. A simple method I really like is getting 2 fingers, pushing them just under our ribs here, using our core to push away, creating that strength and tension we want to provide a nice, strong, and supportive core for our back and spine. A verbal cue I also really like is imagining you getting punched in the stomach by a little child. That bracing support is exactly what we want to support that trunk and spine. Core bracing is particularly valuable for really heavy exercises where that tension support is imperative, such as our squat, deadlift, and bench press, along with all of our Olympic lifts. These lifts need proper core bracing, but it's also really valuable for daily life movement as well, for our trunk, spine, and general health and well-being. For our extremely heavy lifts, a belt is also quite valuable in providing extra support and stability, but by no means is it required. If you do find that you're suffering from any back pain, I personally would recommend trying out the McGill Big 3. The McGill Big 3 was developed by Dr. Stuart McGill, a back specialist and expert, and it consists of the curl up, the side plank, and the bird dog. The McGill Big 3 can have profound effects. By providing strength and stability, your back will definitely thank you. Injury is unfortunately common with exercise when completed incorrectly, which is why it's imperative we treat injury seriously and with respect. Injuries that have lasted longer than 3 months are considered chronic conditions and have long-lasting persisting effects. And I would recommend if you do have a chronic condition, you either see a physio, osteo, or health professional about it. A variety of injuries come from a lack of stability, mobility, and strength, so providing those can resolve a lot of injuries on their own. Icing should generally be avoided as it slows the recovery and healing process, unless you really need to reduce swelling within that instant. Facts and misconceptions about exercise. There is no magic pill, either program or diet, that will magically change everything. Weight training does not stunt your growth. You don't need a gym or lots of expensive equipment to strength train. Proper strength training is great for your joints. You cannot target areas of your body for fat loss. Strength training is for everyone, regardless of who you are. No set exercise equipment is best, and it varies from situation to situation. You're never too old to strength train, but it may adjust the strength training that you do. Mobility and flexibility are crucial, especially for reducing the likelihood of injury and improving quality of life. I'd recommend against training while sick, as our bodies are already stressed and strained, and we don't need to add more load to that with exercise. The onset of muscle atrophy starts after 2 weeks. Our bodies and muscles are very efficient at recovery and getting back to the previous state they had been after longer periods of not training. By improving someone's mobility, stability, and strength, we can drastically improve someone's quality of life, both over the short term and long term. Specifics and details of weight training. Once you've gotten used to some weights, we must focus then on continual progress and specificity within our training. The best way to ensure progress is progressive overload, gradually increasing the difficulty or intensity of our exercises. This can be done by modifying our weights, rest, tempo, sets, and rest. This is when we refer back to our goals and programming and adjusting the difficulty to suit our goals and what we want to achieve. Generally, we want to use the biggest muscles first and complete the most complex exercises first. For example, as our legs are one of our biggest muscle groups, we'll squat first, push up second, and do bicep curls third, all being in order of our muscle size or the complexity of the exercise. Current evidence suggests that any exercise between 3 to 35 repetitions has the same effect on hypertrophy, but they do have varying other effects as well. Especially when starting off, I'd recommend going between the 10 to 15 repetition range, just so we can practice the exercise and the movement to ensure high quality form. Once you've gotten the practice in and really nailed that form, you can begin to lower those repetitions. Periodization is the variations in training specificity, intensity, and volume, which is organized in long periods to promote long-term training and performance improvements. Simply put, periodization is a long-term plan to help you achieve your long-term health and fitness goals. This could be spending the next 4 weeks within the 15 to 12 rep range, the weeks after that, the 12 to 8 rep range, after that, the 8 to 6 rep range, after that, the 6 to 3 rep range. Each 4-week block could be described as a mesocycle, fitting within the year's training that is the macro cycle. Exercise programming can be very simple, but the more your knowledge increases, the more those intricacies increase as well. Considering wanting to get the most out of every exercise, muscular fatigue throughout the workout, opposing muscle groups, different goals, different training methods, and exercise variations means that each movement can be completed very differently from workout to workout. I'm going to go through my key principles for exercises, training, and programming. The exercises with the biggest muscles and most complex movements should go first on the program, unless your specific goal wants to focus on something otherwise, ensuring both a hinge movement and a squat movement pattern somewhere throughout your programs. Keeping in mind programming later exercises and how your previously completed exercises muscles could be fatigued and make it harder to complete your later exercises. Focusing on compound movements and exercises can be great bang for buck as you're working multiple muscles at the same time. Working through your full range of motion is good for both your mobility and strength, ensuring control and tempo that's in line with your program's goals. Ensuring you're giving yourself enough rest time from set to set, but also throughout the week as well. You don't always need to reinvent the wheel. Traditional exercises work, and that's why everyone does them. But it's also important to have fun as well and do exercises you love. Methods such as supersetting, pairing 2 exercises together before having your rest time, can save a lot of time in your workouts. If supersetting, be mindful of the exercises you're pairing together. If they do have overlapping muscle groups, you might have a lot of additional fatigue that you may not otherwise have. Tracking all of your programs, writing down your weights, rest, sets, and rest time can be invaluable into ensuring progress over the long term and having progressive overload. Here are some questions I'd like you to think about. Is your program in line with your goals? Are you improving with your training and your results? How many sets and reps are you completing? Is that enough volume for you, and does that help you achieve your goal? Are you practicing progressive overload? How many sessions do you want to complete a week? How many sessions do you think you realistically can complete a week? And what are your goals, and are they realistic? Do you enjoy the exercise or program you're doing? Because at the end of the day, that's what's most important. Does an exercise cause any pain? What options do you have to work around that? And have you seen a health professional in regards to it? Here are some of my favorite health and fitness professionals that I go to. Ben Carpenter, Lane Norton, Peter Attia, Nutrition Made Simple, the Knee Over Toes Guy, Andy Galpin, Squat University, Menno Henselmans, Jeff Nippard, Chris Raynor, Fitness FAQs, Picture Fit, Movement by David, Brett the Glute Guy, Mike Israetel, Dr. Mike. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I honestly spent a lot longer making this than I care to admit. If you have any questions at all about health or fitness, don't be afraid to send me a message on any of my socials, which will be somewhere around here. If you're in Melbourne and would like any in-person training, or you're online and would like some online coaching, send me a message as well. I'd love to be able to work with you to help you achieve your goals, but also discuss some of the things we went through in the video. If you found any of this helpful, share it with your friends and family if they either need a bit of guidance or just a bit of help along the way. Health and fitness information should be available to everyone. It also does help me out as well. Thanks, and don't forget to move well and feel well.